Public Services Librarian Britney Shawley from Johnston Community College Library, and today we're going to discuss the 5 different types of plagiarism and how to avoid them. There's a good chance you could be stealing somebody's intellectual property and really not even know it, because we all think that plagiarism is when we copy someone's work, but this also includes stealing someone's ideas, or most commonly, improperly citing works that you have referenced in your own work. Plagiarism falls into 2 categories: unintentional and intentional. Unintentional plagiarism consists of poorly paraphrasing, something like not changing the sentence structure of what you are paraphrasing, quoting poorly, putting quotation marks around everything just because you're unsure, or putting quotation marks around a small part of what you've used when in reality you needed to put them around the entire sentence. Intentional plagiarism is exactly what it sounds like. It was done on purpose. You ran out of time, something happened, you thought that you could get away with it. You take a pre-written paper that you found somewhere, usually on an internet site, and let me tell you, the ones that they sell are not very good to begin with. You copy someone's essay, you copy an article from a newspaper or from an internet database without even giving the author credit. This includes cutting and pasting. I have seen students cut and paste their entire paper, not even change the font, so they have a paper of a bunch of different types of fonts. And this also includes borrowing someone's ideas. Don't steal somebody's thesis statement and then use that to write your paper. Shame, shame, shame on you. Let's go ahead and look at the different types. There are 5 main types of plagiarism. The first type is the plagiarism of words. All this means is that you use the exact words without citing the author. This makes you a thief. You're a word thief. The second type is plagiarism of structure. This is when you paraphrase someone's words by changing the sentence around, or you omit or add words. Somebody might have told you, oh, just flip the words around and you'll be okay. This does not work. If you look at this comparison here, looking at the original and the paraphrase, the original says the U.S. has only lost approximately 30% of its forest area, most of this in the 19th century. Paraphrase, only 30% of the original forest area has been lost. That is followed entirely too closely. That would need to be cited. The third type is the plagiarism of ideas. This is presenting somebody's ideas as your own without giving them credit. This counts for stealing a thesis statement and then writing your paper with somebody else's thesis statement. That wasn't your original idea. So that's, again, plagiarism. The fourth type, which is very, very common, is plagiarism of authorship, and that is turning in a replication of someone else's work. So let's say you had a brother who took this class 2 years ago and he still has his paper. Well, you change the name on the paper and turn it in as yourself. That's a replication of somebody else's work. This also counts for ones that you find online on the same topic. If I'm writing a paper on Martin Luther King Jr., and I go online and find a paper on Martin Luther King Jr., I'm replicating somebody else's work if I turn that in on my own. And the fifth type is one that you may not have heard of, but is very, very important to be aware of at the college and university level. And that is plagiarism of self. This is when you use previous work for a different assignment. So let's say you took your history paper on the Civil War and you turn that in for English because in English you're also writing about the Civil War. Can you use the same sources? Absolutely. That's not plagiarism of self if you find a really good source that you want to use for a different paper, but you must craft an entirely different paper. It's also more common in high school where it's not as easily caught and it might have been accepted. I have heard a lot of students say, but this was okay when I was in high school. At this level, it is something that is not okay to do. You need to be thinking at a much higher level and producing good quality original work. And some people say, well, why can't I? I wrote it. Yes, you wrote it. But you've already received credit as the author of that work. So in this case, it's just like you're copying from anybody else. How can you avoid it? This is something that scares people. They're afraid they're going to do it on accident. The main way that you can avoid it is to know the types. Always give credit where credit is due. If you're not sure, cite it. Don't be lazy and say, well, yeah, I changed the words around enough, I think I'm good. If when in doubt, cite it. Follow a standard documentation method like MLA or APA. Always follow what your instructor requests. And if you're struggling at any point with using any of the standard documentation methods, you can always come in and speak with a librarian or make an appointment. Penalties, always check your syllabus or check with your instructor for the department policy on plagiarism, as these vary from school to school. It could start off with a warning all the way up to, in very serious cases, expulsion from school. So that is a wrap on plagiarism. I hope that this was informative for you. I hope it wasn't too scary. You know that if you need help or you're afraid of accidental plagiarism or you need some help citing your work, you can always stop in here to the JCC library and see a librarian. We'll see you next time.